We are back. Let's go. Pew, 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 pew. Oh, anyway. What's happening, everybody? Thank you for tuning in to the NBA Report on the NBK Network. That's right, nothing but Knicks with a sprinkle of the NBA. You know what I mean? You see it, Ron and John. We back. We full strength, baby. John made it. Let's go.
Let's
go. Yo, they've been getting on me lately. They're like, yo, where John at? I'm like, yo, John be busy, man.
I'm on that. What is that? When you're hiding people. What is it called?
You're the witness protection program.
Exactly.
Yeah, we got him out, snuck him out for this one episode. You know, we may have some questions to answer after, but you know what? This is what we do. This is what we do. Yeah, man. So how's everything going? You good?
Good. Everything's good, man. You know, sports family, you know, my daughter's starting to play now, you know, so I was out with her today. Actually, just came back from a game. They lost by 13-12 softball, you know, but they're having fun. So that's really what matters.
A lot of walks.
A lot of walks. Yeah. But it's fun. And a lot of walks and a lot of cheering. Like the girls' game is all about the cheers. You know, it's like nonstop cheering from the first inning all the way to the sixth inning because they play 6 innings. It's funny.
Wow,
it's
That's
hilarious.
Dope though. Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know what? Not for nothing, man. The thing about women's softball, they look like they really have a good time. Like it's really, like, I don't know sometimes I watch like the college games, LSU's and the stuff like that, USC's. They just look like they have a ball, and they always are bigging up their teammates. It just looks like a fun experience. Like you'd want to be a part of that. You'd hope all teams are like that.
Right. Now the girl game will get serious, especially once they get into the high school collegiate, you know, timing. You know, my daughter's 10. She's 10 years old, so she's got a long time. She got
some ways to go. Yeah.
And not to mention, she may not want to keep it going, but we'll see. See.
Hey, but it might be an easy road to a scholarship. Take care of mom and pop. Make it easy.
Hey, listen, one step at a time. I just want her to make contact at this moment in time. So
I got you.
Still very early.
Yeah. The facts, 100%. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to the chat. Appreciate y'all as always. Mr. Time the Techie is in the building. Salute to you. Thank you for being here. Maybe this is your first time in the comments on our show, so we thank you for being here and rocking with us. My guy Mega NYK. I felt like such a fool the other day, John, because I was on, I forgot what show. I don't know if it was Jarrell's show, Die Hard Giants, or one of these shows, and we were just talking about people who might have changed. Like it just came up, like, oh, you know, Pudge Nice is this person now. He changed his name. Oh, did you know Mega NYK is called Mega? And I'm like, really?
Oh, word?
And I'm like, I didn't know that. But the funny thing is, Cormega didn't change his avatar. So I'm like, why wouldn't I know that? I was bugging. It was funny stuff, bro. Hey, but shout out to Mega. What's good, my brother? Always good to see you. Kerry Cox in the building. Salute to you. Appreciate you. Wonder Woman is here. You know, it's funny.
Very nice.
In Division, I played Division on PS5. Don't ask me. Division 2. Right. And I play with a Wonder Woman. I always hope that it's the same person, but I know it's not.
Right.
Who else? Let me see. We got Cody in the building. Salute to you. Appreciate you. And this name is still throwing me. I need him to put in the chat, how does he actually pronounce this name? I'm thinking I'm like the easy air. I don't know what that's. I don't know how to say that. I really don't. So shout out to you. Appreciate you. Good to see you. Michael Douglas is in the building.
Yes,
Appreciate you.
sir.
Good to see you. Margaret Edwards is here. What's good, Margaret?
Appreciate
Uh Lion of Judah is Shalom. What's good, brother? Good to
you.
see you. Sherwin is in the building. And also
Yeah.
thank you to everyone else who may be watching, but doesn't feel like getting the types on, you don't want the fingers to move yet. That's cool. Oh, is it? Oh, damn. Thank you, Mega. I didn't know that. Shoot.
Oh, easy. Okay.
I did not know that. I swear I just couldn't see. Oh, shoot. That does make sense. I mean, my bad. Anyway, all right. Andre Walker in the building. Salute to you. I think this may be your first time in our chat. But thank you for being here. And if you're a subscriber to Nothing But Knicks, we appreciate you.
It's a magic spell to run.
He said, all right.
Yes.
Good looking. Anyway, guys, uh, you know, I think this is the first time that John and I are actually speaking since the Knicks kind of got ousted. So
Oh, yeah,
we'll
that's
talk
right.
about that a little bit. But hey, man, listen, the playoffs is in full swing. We're in the third round. You know what I mean? One more round, and we in the finals, the championship finals. So right now, I mean, it's Miami and Boston and the Lakers and Denver. The bubble teams are back together again,
Back,
John. The bubble
it's
teams.
back, man. I'm telling you. Who would have thought that this was how it was going to round out, right? Like no one would have picked this to be what the final four is going to be.
It's
So,
crazy.
hey, kudos to the teams that made it, man. They played hard. They made their mark, and now they have an opportunity to go to the championship. So kudos to every team that's still in the playoff hunt or the championship hunt. Um, but as of right now, it looks like what is Denver's up 1-0, right, in the series,
Yep.
and they're playing right now against the Lakers. And then you have Jimmy Butler and the Miami Heat. They took care of business yesterday. They took one away from the Celtics at the Garden, right? At the Boston Garden, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
So that's big. That's huge. That is huge.
Yeah, it's true. And well, I mean, really big shout out to Miami and the Lakers. Okay. Because both these two teams did not look like they deserved to be in anybody's playoffs.
Right.
Coming
And
into
that
the season,
season.
we didn't know what they would be. And then
Yeah.
as the season progressed, we were like, yo, what the hell happened to Miami? The Lakers, we kind of knew they were on the downside, but Miami was a little bit of a shocker. And then
Right.
just looking at how these two teams have catapulted and took off in the playoffs and taking advantage of an opportunity. Like Miami, this is probably the best road possible that they could have imagined. Like we got a road to possibly winning this thing. And
Right.
the Lakers are probably like, oh, same thing for us. And those trades that they once again,
Different.
Lakers not having money, bro. Not having money and not a lot of
Assets. Yeah.
resources, assets. That's the
Hmm.
word I was looking for. And they still made some really good trades at the trade deadline and before the trade deadline to kind of help that team. It's
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Very smart front office. They know they sort of they have really good connections with other teams. They don't spoil you any relationships, and so they're able to maneuver players around and mix and match. And it always seems like they get their guys when it comes down to it. Um, and again, but the trade for Westbrook, it's almost like a 2-3 for 1, right? For that move.
Yep.
And they got rid of maybe one draft pick within that, right? Or maybe a couple of second rounders. I can't recall.
I think it was a
But
couple. Yeah, maybe a
it
couple second
wasn't it,
rounders.
it wasn't like it. And then this is for a player who was trending downward, right?
Mm-hmm.
And Russell Westbrook, although he's still capable, as you all seen in the during the playoff run and with the Clippers, he's probably a better fit. But yeah, the Lakers seem to get their team, adequate enough to make a run at it. And that was a change for them, right? It was different from what Miami did because the Lakers built their team to where it is today by making a couple of key trades, bringing in Hachimura, D'Lo, and a few shooters. that are our key bench players. Walker came from the Spurs
Mhm.
in the
Lonnie Walker. Yep.
Lonnie Walker, and that was a part of the Westbrook trade. So it was a three-team deal. Um,
Hmm.
but they just tend to land their mark every time. They're whenever you think they don't have a shot, right? And like becoming a mainstay in the NBA anymore, they make a move and they're back in it. So, but Miami themselves, they did it a little differently, right? They went with who they have on the roster. A lot of injuries throughout the year. They're starting to get healthy. Then they lose two key players. It's the back end of the season into the playoffs. And yet they're still hitting on all cylinders, right?
It's
Like,
crazy.
it's wild.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I understand. I get that Miami has that thing, that playoff thing. They've got the experience. They just know the moment's not too big for them. They're coached well, and they've got a star player on the team who gets prime time. Like he knows when to step up. He knows when he. It's still shocking. It's
It
still
is.
shocking to me. I still I like it's wild. Um, but hey, and the fact that like don't get me wrong, I expect Miami to make this Boston, series a long one, but I didn't expect them to win game one. Like I'm, I'm like, oh, all right, it just plays into who they are.
But also, this is also plays into how the Celtics played all year too. Like
True.
they've sort of been very lackluster in their approach to big games this season. Um, they who played who did they play in the first round? Because they looked like they were, you know, ran
Who
into
Miami? Miami?
no, Celtics.
Oh, the Celtics played.
Who
Shoot,
was their
I
first
forgot.
matchup?
Hold on, I should know since I got it right here. The Celtics played the Hawks.
The Hawks, and the Hawks had took them to game 6 or 7. What did they take them to? It
The
was a
Hawks.
best of 5, right? It was a best of 5, not 7.
Yeah, of course. I have it cut off there. There we go. Four. It was Boston won 4-2. So 6 games.
6 games. So they took them 6. So it was a best of 7 game series.
Right.
So yeah. So they, like they didn't make it easy on themselves. And Boston tends to come in lackluster, and then I'm expecting them to come out a little bit, with more tempo the next game around. But Boston's a weird team. It's like they got the tools. They've been there before. They know what it takes to win. But somehow, some way, they tend to like have these performances where they'll keep teams in it. Or they'll be down by a lot and have to battle back. Very similar to how the Knicks play too, where we may run a deficit and then have to come back from that deficit. So
Hmm.
yeah, Boston's interesting.
Yeah. I agree, man. Like they just I can see them turning the series around again because I think the difference with the Boston playing Miami as opposed to the Knicks playing Miami is that Boston has more weapons than the Knicks. They
Mhm.
really sound defensively, and having Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, I think they have enough to get past Miami. But I wouldn't be shocked if Miami won that series. I'm just saying, I would
Yeah.
not be shocked.
And it's interesting is that when we think about the NBA and how most teams don't play the zone because you know you're in the NBA and NBA players are the elite of the elite, right? And so most teams could break the zone,
Hmm.
but for whatever reason, the way Miami throws it together, the way they scheme it, and the way they shift from man to zone in like during in game action,
Hmm.
it catches players off guard, and they do a really good job of disguising it. And I think that's key because they're obviously working on that, and shout out to Spoelstra, man. He's really showing what he's made of in these playoffs. He's really challenging his players to be better, and he doesn't have an all-star caliber cast. He's got two all-stars on that team, and he has a proven champion in Kyle Lowry. But the rest of the team are role players, and they're really solid role players, and they know where they need to be and how they need to play. But yeah, man, it's it's awesome to see. I'm enjoying it, even though it's not my team. I'm enjoying these playoffs. I'm seeing the games for what they are, and I'm realizing that the Knicks were just a shot away. Like we were right in it. We had a chance. We had an opportunity, and sometimes that's the way the ball rolls.
Yeah, yeah, and that is a testament to them just being in the moment. And someone was saying it, that I don't remember who it was, but they were talking about, like, I think it was on Twitter. But Miami's just, their guys are really good at closing out on these perimeter shooters.
Oh yeah.
So, whereas for the Knicks, that was a problem that the Knicks struggled with all season. It's probably even before the season. Under Thibodeau, they've had problems closing out quickly on these perimeter shooters, and just Miami just does a better job at it. And that's definitely helping, because it plays into their defensive scheme, what they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, kudos to them. And that's the thing about Miami too. Somebody talked about this years ago when Miami was in their prime. They're a well-coached team, but they're a well-practiced team. Like the stuff that they do for practice, and they're bought in. The system is good. It's kind of like the same thing that we heard about. This is a different sport, and I know the situation might sound a little crazy, but the Houston Astros, outside of the cheating scandal and the stuff that they used to do, apparently there was a lot of GMs talking about the way they run their system, the way they practice, the training they do is different from a lot of Major League Baseball teams. And that's what kind of helped them stay good and relevant each season, which also
even more so now with Dusty Baker on the helm.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it's crazy. But, yeah, I mean, that's good. Good
One
stuff.
thing that they really do also defensively is they know how to draw fouls, right? They know how to trap. They know how to draw the foul when, a player's trying to go one-on-one. They sort of throw themselves in the mix, and they clog the interior, and they may not have they may not have the depth or the height on that team right now, but they all sort of, it's like a team effort. You'll see like Duncan Robinson even come in and try to draw a foul. You have Strus throw his body around. Kyle Lowry is no stranger to throwing his body around. And so it's almost contagious, because then you got everyone on that team who's very hands-on, right? Like they're swiping at balls. They're looking to get extra possessions. They're not afraid to get into the grind of it. And that's what makes that team very dangerous come playoff time.
Yeah. Definitely, I agree. Like they have another thing that they have on their side too, which as Knick fans, we can't really appreciate it as much. We're getting a little of that now, but they've had stability. Front office stability and coaching stability. So the system is what the system is. You come in, this is the system. You're going to buy in and you're going to get it. So they don't have a lot of changeover, not a lot of up and down, not having to learn a whole bunch of new stuff. And I think that helps Miami out a lot too. That's a very good thing to have.
That's what we're trying to build. We're building that right now. It's very early on, but that's what the Knicks are trying to build themselves.
Yep. Agreed. That's definitely what's going on. So, the thing I wanted to, let me not, miss this, because I want to say what's up to these people real quick. But I also want to get into the next thing about Miami, because that's another thing that's really what makes them special. Shout out to Fabian Williams. Appreciate you. Good to see you. The Smoking Nick is in the building. Appreciate you. And tune into the Smoking Nick show if you guys haven't checked him out. He's got his own YouTube show. Please check him out. Very good stuff. He don't hold his tongue, I'll tell you that. Who else? Mac S is in the building. Salute to Mac S.
And shout out to Smoking Nick, because I listened to last week's show and I was right there with him. I hate all of the smoke that Julius Randle right now is getting. It's unnecessary right now. So I'm with him on that one. I would have been on your side, brother.
Some of it is ridiculous.
Yeah,
We
it
could
gets it's
we'll
just
we'll
OD.
we'll,
We'll
we'll
touch
talk
on it.
about that a little bit too, because that some of it is crazy.
OD.
Illmatics is in the building. Salute to Illmatics. Appreciate you. I believe I already said Manchild. Um, Daniel Berry Sports Highlights is in the building. Salute to you. Appreciate you. My guy Deron Wayne is in the building. Salute, my brother. Good to see you as well.
Appreciate you.
So, yeah, you know, look, we're gonna have to really stop underrating this guy. I mean, the bottom line is, he's got a nickname for a reason, but the nickname is well warranted. It's well deserved. Okay. So what I want to do is, because we're in the third round of these playoffs, maybe we won't do the player of the night from last night, but we'll do the player. How about the player of each series from the last game prior to the show? So in this case, that player is Mr. Jimmy Butler,
Uh-huh.
because this is what I'm
Or
talking about.
how Lion of Judah is calling it, sugar buckets.
I love that. Sugar buckets, dude. 35 points, 5 rebounds, 7 assists, 6 steals. Playoff Jimmy. But also, I want you guys to know something. I didn't see none of this numbers when they was playing the Knicks. I ain't saying nothing. Yeah, they won the series, okay? But we didn't let Jimmy go off and do this stuff. But okay, all right, it is what it is. But shout out to Jimmy Butler. You are the MBK player of the night for the Miami and Boston series. Got busy and helped propel them to a victory. So shout out to him. Yeah, man. Jimmy Butler's a beast, bro.
He's a bucket getter, man. And not only is he a bucket getter, he's just a playmaker. You know what I mean? He gets his team involved early, even if he doesn't have it going. He knows how to get his team involved, and he keeps their confidence high, which is part of the reason why you can't just play off them, because he's getting everyone involved. And when it's his time to shine, you can't really close out. You can't, I mean, even if you try to trap like we did, you're leaving guys wide open for open shots. And if you do that too many times, you're going to get burned. And you've seen our rotations were crazy at the back end of that fourth quarter. When they went up 6, if it wasn't for, what was the kid's name? Gabe Vincent, giving Jalen Brunson the elbow. We didn't have a shot in that game. We was already done.
That's true.
But it really comes down to like Jimmy being able to work one-on-one and not having guys, like shift over, or if they trap, he's a willing passer. And that's what makes him, the star that he is.
Yeah, like he's so tricky. Like you can't really box him. So that was the whole thing. Like when the Knicks, they did a really good job of playing defense on him, but sometimes I thought maybe they paid a little too much attention to him, and maybe that hurt us in the series. Yeah. So you got to figure out to try to find like a happy medium between the two. Sometimes you might have to double him, but try to play him straight up to the best of your ability. Because once you start doubling and he starts picking you apart, and in a game like that, when he's having 30 plus points he is a tough cover.
Oh yeah. Oh, definitely. And he knows how to draw the foul, so he'll get to the line at least 10 times a game. You know what I mean? So that's like his bread and butter is like from mid range. You don't see him chucking up a bunch of threes. He's playing the mid range game. He's grabbing boards, offensive boards. He's running the court. He's getting guys involved. He's a tricky guy to play against. But I thought Grimes did a really good job on him. And kudos to Grimes. Young player that he is, he was willing to take on that task. And I thought he did a fairly decent job, especially in that last game, even though we had the scheme to sort of like trap and double him and make him move the ball early, which he did. But I thought that was some good schemes. And like you said earlier, it seemed like, we probably went to the well a little bit too often. Ooh, LeBron just slipped out his hand on a fast break dunk. That's crazy. Don't see that often.
That's father time.
Yeah,
stuff like that happens with father time. It just happens sometimes.
Lakers up 8 right now, 40-32.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. Like it's just they have a better team. They still have 2 star players in the league, and they know what they need to do to get it done. You just have to really work to stop them because they're tough.
Yeah.
But I will, I will say that, shout out to Denver because Denver looks good, man. They're confident. They don't seem afraid of the Lakers at all. In that first game, they were coming out and they were putting it on them. I thought it was going to be laughable, but the Lakers don't give up, which is good. Right. They don't quit. And they made it very interesting down the stretch. But I like Denver's, fortitude. Like, keep coming back. Don't let them take the lead away. Just keep coming back. And I knew that Kentavious Caldwell-Pope was going to have a good game against his former club. Yeah. He played well. Bruce Bowen played well too. He was timely for them. Had them on some nice runs. And then you can't say enough about Jamal Murray. Missed the bubble. Looked like he's healthy and feeling good about his game again. Finally. There might be, another guy that I didn't bring up that played pretty well, throughout the game. Some kind of, said he got overlooked in the MVP voting. Like some might say he's the real MVP, but it's crazy. Like I don't like this stuff, bro. I don't like this stuff.
Jokic is a tough cover, man. But they show 3 years in a row, right? There was a stat, they showed like 3 MVPs did not make make it to the final, like past the second round of the playoffs. So maybe.
But this is why I don't like some of this voting stuff, John, because
I think it should be players, not writers. I think that's part of the problem.
It could be because every year you look at it and you say, did he deserve it? Jokic deserved it last year, right?
Yeah.
The year prior,
Embiid,
because Jokic won it.
Yeah,
Embiid deserved that one.
The first one, right?
Right, but this one, Jokic deserved this one. Embiid didn't deserve this one over Jokic. It's like they gave him. I think I said this already. I hope I didn't say it on this show, but I was like, they gave him the training day, bro. They gave him the Denzel Washington.
Right.
Yeah. Like, come on, man. It don't make sense. And look, even Mark Jackson now, because he voted. He's like, I messed that one up.
I really do think that like the former MVP should have this say. I was listening to something. I forget what it was. It may have been the show with Gilbert Arenas' show.
Oh yeah.
And I think actually it was, because then Kenya Martin was on the show, and I think it came from Kenya Martin, who has stated that for MVPs or for any sort of high end, say that, what's that? You killed my mood when you mentioned, man. I think that's hilarious. When he talked about like winning awards or specialized awards like an MVP, that you should have former MVPs, you know what I mean, be the ones voting for those guys, because they're gonna choose who's the best player regardless of the team that they play for, regardless, you know what I mean? So it's really just gonna be on the player themselves and their stats.
Yeah, that's facts. That makes sense. Shout out to the chat once again. Hit 'em up is in the building. Salute to you. Thank you for being here and tuning in. Knicks won today. Oof, that's a rough name to have in the off season, but no, but I appreciate you. Thanks for being here, brother. As always, Brooklyn Butch is in the building. Salute to you.
Did you say the highlight reel? Did you catch that?
Oh, the highlight reel. That's dope. I like that name. Shout out to you. Appreciate you. If this is your first time tuning in to the chat for our show, thank you for being here. Right. Old Head is in the building. Good to see you again, Old Head. Yeah, and I agree with that, the highlight reel. I think they are. Just they have to continue to play that way. It ain't going to be easy because, they're getting over a hurdle. As much as I say that they're playing with poise and the moment doesn't seem too big, they're still playing the Lakers with.
Ron, I think you're muted, brother.
Damn it, man. Guys.
He was excited.
Y'all gotta know, I got the sensitive mic. You know how we do. Hey. Okay, anyway. Yeah, but I think, like, you guys know, when you go up against LeBron, he gets them calls. So That's another hurdle that Denver's got to get over too. You think Jimmy Butler gets calls? LeBron gets the calls.
Yeah, it's a fact. But well
And
deserved. I
also
mean,
he doesn't get some calls too, but that's because he expects to get every call.
everything.
That's the difference.
Listen, what is he almost 20 years in? Like,
Yeah,
he's right.
yeah,
He's right
yeah.
there.
He's right
So,
there.
like, at some point, you got it. You got it.
And he not only does he expect them, sometimes he be needing them. Yo.
Yeah, he need them. He need the big time.
Anyway, but as we were talking, and we did talk about this was going to be a twofer. NBK player of the night. So the NBK player of the night for this series, the Laker and Denver series, I think you guys know who it is. I mean, his game that he had the other day was incredible. That's right. Your real MVP, folks, Mr. Nikola Jokic. You are the NBK player of the night. 34 points, 21 rebounds, 14 assists, and 2 blocks. Jeez, bro.
Yeah. That's
wild. Not only is that incredible numbers, but it's incredible numbers because you're going up against the Lakers, right? Mm-hmm. It's incredible numbers because it's the playoffs. These games mean something. There's pressure. It's incredible numbers because you're dealing with Anthony Davis, who is a good defender, and you're still putting up these numbers. This is incredible. Like, Jokic is that dude.
He is that dude, man. Not only that, just like his pace, he doesn't let anyone change the pace that he likes to play in. And that's huge. You know what I mean? Like, he plays his game, and regardless of how you want to defend him or if you want to put him through, a lot of work on the defensive end, he still plays his game, Yeah, look at that. 14 assists, 21 rebounds. That's sick.
He's a monster, bro. A monster. Well, shout out to Nikola Jokic once again. Incredible stuff. Like those numbers is bananas. Like, I don't know. And you know what? Another thing, this is probably the reason why I think Denver might have the best chance to win it all, because Denver made their team with guys that are good role players, but the role players that they got play defense. Like, right. Bruce Bowen is a good defender. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope is a really good defender.
Yeah.
And they surrounded, even though Jokic is not the greatest defender, he can block shots. He uses his body sometimes. He's not the greatest defender, but they surrounded the team with these role players that play really good defense and can add some offensive value. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope shoots over 40% from three. Bruce Bowen, you give him a lane, he's going to dunk on you. Like, they do certain things, the other thing that I think really gives them an edge. Dude, I was watching that Laker game, and I know the Lakers made it close, and I know the Lakers are currently winning right now. Mm-hmm. But that pick and roll that they got with Jokic it's damn near unstoppable. You can figure out a way to kind of slow it, but it's tough because he's got such a big body. He's a great passer. He gives somebody the ball. He waits there. He stands there. And if you go with the guy, right, and you play good defense and cut through, all the dude got to do is throw it right back to Jokic, and Jokic can hit from anywhere on the court.
Yep.
That's tough to stop.
It's a hard cover. And you always and you have to pick your spots when you're going to try to trap or double team. That's the other thing, because he just got good court vision and really high IQ. So he's going to make the right, decision when it comes down to it. So
shout out to Quality Jumper in the chat. Appreciate you. He said almost a triple double.
Right.
You'll just be having crazy numbers, man. It's true. Oh man, it's nuts. Shout out to D Coolers 718 in the building as well. Good to see you, bro. Always a pleasure. Yeah, man. So that's what's going on right now. And then giving you a quick score update. It's 47-42. 5 minutes left in quarter number 2. The Lakers are up over Denver.
Right. Jokic hitting Kareem type hook shots right now.
Let me see who's doing that. Wow, man. Shout out. Someone in the chat said that too. I know. I was with you. I too felt that way. Rui Hachimura is the trade that we wish the Knicks would have got. Like, I
It would have
still
been a nice
wanted
pick.
Josh Hart, but I wanted to get Rui too. That would have been a nice person to put on this Knick team.
Oh yeah.
And Rui's leading at all the scorers on the Lakers right now with 13 points. He's been pretty good in these first two games. For them, he definitely gives them something. Um, and I think, he's leading. And on the other side, Jokic is leading with 16 points
Right.
right now. Shocker. Um, so pretty good stuff, man. But hey, that's that, and we'll be following along as the playoffs continue with these teams, and we'll see what happens. But before we move on real quick, who do you think's going into the finals, John?
Prediction. Hmm.
Mm.
This is one of those weird ones because you look at the bubble and you're like, can that happen once more? Can the Lakers pull it out? And can you see the Lakers versus Miami? Because Miami has you know, they have the testosterone fortitude to get this one done, right? They can pull through, especially in the game 7 with the pressure's off. You know what I mean? They get to a game 7, the pressure will be off them because they'll be at the Garden, in Boston Garden, and Boston will have to come through to defend their reign. And I think Jimmy Butler will, he sort of elevates during those pressure situations. So if they were to go to game 7, I say Miami Heat. Um, I don't know. It's hard, man. It's hard to look at Boston and think that they could lose the series, but I, you don't see enough fight at the fourth quarter, right? Like what the team that could get the one player that I can't sleep on is Al Horford. Like he's the guy like that could sort of shift the momentum for them defensively and offensively hitting, open threes. So yeah, man, it's 50-50 for me, man. It's a hard one, bro. I can't even think about like putting I'm gonna go Miami and Denver. I'll go Miami and Denver.
Miami and Denver.
Go
Interesting.
Miami, Denver.
Interesting. Okay. Um, Interesting. So I'm going to tell you what I would like to see, and then I'm going to tell you what I think's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to see Miami and Denver
Okay.
because, and I want Denver to win it all.
Okay.
All right. I think that's the next evolution of Jokic's game that supplants him, that lets everybody know he's the man. Now he's got a championship under his belt to go along with these MVPs. He is supplanted in NBA lore forever. Now there's no question. Oh, anything you had about his game, oh, he don't play the greatest defense. None of that matters. If he gets
Okay.
them over the hump, wins a championship with all his MVPs, Jokic is the man. That's how I think about it. That's what I would like to see. Realistically, I think it'll be Boston and the Lakers.
Mm.
And in the end, I think it will be the Lakers because my whole thing is don't let the Lakers get to the finals because the
Right.
Lakers get to the finals. I don't see LeBron letting them lose. I think they will
Yeah.
do everything in their power to make it happen. And with LeBron saying, okay, like if you think about it, if you look at the first game with Denver, the way Denver was blowing them out, and then certain guys stepped up and kind of helped get them back into the game. And then when
Right.
LeBron got the ball, oh yeah, I'm going right into the paint. Now I'm using all my muscles. Let's see, I'm gonna draw fouls. Like once he starts doing that, if the game is somewhat close, you're in trouble. So I just if you don't want to see the Lakers win the championship, don't let them get to the finals, in my opinion.
Yeah. That's a hard team. I mean, look, AD and LeBron I mean, they've really got a nice team right now, so it's hard to pick against them. I just think that like Denver's been doing this all season long.
Yeah, no, I think Denver's the best team in right now. They're the best team in the playoffs.
That's why I feel like they'll get the get through the Lakers because I
They
feel like
should. They should.
I think they will pull that off. I think the kind of help that they have off the bench, I think the consistency that they play with, um, right now they're playing with urgency, and so it's just they're not knocking down shots that they knocked down in the first game. So they start to make those shots. I think they pulled this game out too today,
Yeah,
and so go up 2-zip.
yeah, they definitely
And
could. I think the
but
other thing that I was thinking about that the Lakers have on their end too, like more motivation. Of course, LeBron is never going to shy away from trying to win a title. So he's got his own personal motivation. I think some of the guys who may have been there, but I know like definitely like Anthony Davis, and LeBron together, they also want to show that the bubble wasn't a fluke. Like, all right, maybe you're going to say the bubble was a fluke. There was no fans in the stands and all this. Okay. We get right back over there with a regular season, with everything being regular, and we win again. So now you have to, acknowledge us for
right,
winning it that way. Yeah.
but
So
this is a different team. It's not the same bubble team.
no. I agree. But you know what? I mean, you take LeBron and Anthony Davis off this team. I mean, as good
Oh
as
yeah.
these acquisitions are made,
Oh
they're
yeah.
not going nowhere.
Oh for sure.
So yeah, but we'll see what happens, man. But all right, guys, it's the time you've been waiting for. Let's go. Let's talk about them Knicks.
Talk
Let's
about
talk
them
about them
Knicks.
Knicks. So first off, like I said, John and I haven't really had a chance to chop it up since they got eliminated. How are you
Right.
feeling, John?
I'm good. I'm good. I think we spoke on it on the Still Nick Fans podcast before the last game.
Game before the
You
game,
know,
right?
for me, everything that they did this year had exceeded expectations. Um, I'm excited to see where we go in the future and how far we can continue to take this. Um, I like what we've built as a culture. Um, I'm in agreement with those who say Tibbs is good for now. He may not be the guy who gets us to the championship. Um, but for what he's done, you got to give him his props. You got to give him, all his flowers. He's helped shift the dynamic that we were all seeing for the last 30 years. You know what I mean? Where, players didn't want to come and be a Nick because of the culture. I think right now that is starting to swing in the right direction. I think there are some players who find New York as an interesting destination for their career, and so um, that's all a plus for me. Yeah, icing on the cake. That's basically how I felt. If we got past Miami, it would have been extremely exciting. As you know, I was calling out the sweep in 4, then I called out the gentleman sweep. All in all, I wasn't trying to disrespect Miami. I knew what they came with. I just wanted to, hype out my Knicks and just be a part of the fandom. Um, but yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot of fun watching. It was it was enjoyable. I think the team will learn from this series. They got a lot to take from it, and I think they'll get better. I think they'll get better, and I personally think that the Knicks front office and the brass they're just basically gonna run it all over again. I think we're gonna re-sign Josh Hart, and we'll probably make a couple of smaller moves. I don't think we're gonna make a splash. Um, coming into the next season. And if, 2024 comes around and the trade deadline hits and there's a disgruntled, superstar, then there's a possibility there to make a move. But if not, I think we stay put and we run it back to see how far, we can get. And I think that's great because you're building on the camaraderie you've already created within this team, current team, right? Every player is going to get a year older. They're going to get a year more experience under their belt, and they're going to have another year to develop their games. And hopefully, they come ready and prepared, and we don't get any major injuries during the regular season because it's a long season. And if we don't have any, major injuries, I expect us to be right back there where we were this year and fighting for an opportunity to make a semi, this third round where we see the Miami Heat right now. I expect us to start, challenging for that role. So that's where I'm at with it.
That makes sense. That's fair. And I can agree. Like if the I my whole thing is I don't want the Knicks to just go out there and make moves just to make moves.
Yeah.
It has to make sense. You need to be thinking upgrade
Right.
from what you had this year, and
Hmm.
really what you want to do is cut the fat. Right.
Hmm.
You got players that haven't played on the bench. You're paying them millions of dollars. If you can get off of those players and bring in some better players that can contribute, maybe that might open up Tibbs's roster, his rotation. But it doesn't matter because if the players are worth it, you can open up the rotation. Tibbs
Yeah.
lessened the rotation because he didn't feel he can count on certain guys, so he had to shorten it. But if he's got the guys he can count on, and there's an abundance, that'll just make us that much better. That'll really turn our bench back into something that people have to fear and worry about.
Yeah.
Um, and so I really want them to go out there and try to get some upgraded pieces if they can. But if they can't necessarily do that, or if the price is too high or too steep, I think that they can also run it back with the same similar type squad, but change out a couple pieces here or there. There's no reason you have to have Derrick Rose on this team next year. I mean, you might have to start with him because it might be better for you to trade him rather than just let him go. But like Fournier is another one who shouldn't be a Nick.
Hmm.
And even two more guys that I would throw out there, Obi,
Hmm.
because Obi is going to be due for a payday in 2 years. And I just don't know if he's progressing correctly with this team or the way we need him and being behind Julius. So all of that's a issue. And if you got two guys like that, because you got Obi and Grimes, Obi and Quickly that are in the same draft class. So they both are supposed to get paid. I don't know if you want to pay both of them. So that's the one thing, right? And then the other thing is Jericho Sims. Now I know he's only making $6 million for 3 years, so he's basically only making $2 million per year. That's the money's not the issue,
Hmm.
but we need a big that can help this team. And even when Jericho was healthy, Tibbs had him on the bench, like getting splinters. So if
Right.
he's not the perfect fit for you, what you want to run, if you don't got the schemes down, because I do think that Tibbs gets frustrated because Jericho gets lost out there sometimes on assignments. If that's the case, then you need to go out and get somebody that is an adequate third string center that we can put in when we have matchup problems or we've got injuries. We need the best, the sum of all our parts to be available. So, stuff like that I think can change things around. If nothing else, because the other thing is, and this is something that I always like to keep in the back of my mind, going into next season, if we get back to where we were and we get back to the playoffs, remember, we got basically nothing from Quentin Grimes and nothing from Quickly. If
Right.
we have these guys in the team going into next year, they might step up. And if they step up, that's like having two more players. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
offensively, should I say? Defensively, they played well. But it gives you a boost. Not even to mention who else you might add. So yeah, I'm
Right.
not mad either way. I
Yeah.
mean, I wouldn't want to go with the exact same team. I need some change because you got guys on the bench that ain't playing.
I get that. I
Four, I
mean,
think there's four guys.
yeah, no, I understand that. I mean, I personally would hold on to D Rose. I think that's more of a culture fit. I think for me, you always need a veteran presence in your locker room, especially with the young players. So I would lean more on keeping Rose. Um, and if you were to make a trade, let's just say if something was to be made available, if it's not the money that you're adding onto it with Rose's contract, you may have to sort of you know have multiple players in a trade, and so an IQ or OB or an IQ and a Randall or whatever it may be will have to go, and so that makes room for a player like Rose to pick up where you left off, and you don't miss a beat.
Mm.
You don't expect him to play a ton of minutes if he can stay healthy. I think the key is
Well,
having that person there if in case you need to play him because you've exhausted your bench.
right.
Um,
Well, I was just gonna say I think Rose can come back but like on a veterans minimum, like on a Taj Gibson type contract.
Right.
You know what I
But
mean?
ain't
Because
he
he's getting
signed for 2 years right now?
no,
Doesn't he
he's
have a
done.
2
This
year?
is it. This is
That's
it.
it.
He's done.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay. I thought he
yeah.
had
Because
one
he's
more option.
no.
Hmm.
It's a team option, and we don't have to
Okay.
pick it up. So he's
Okay.
making, like, I think he's making 14 million
Yeah,
around
yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, they gave
So if
him a
he
nice
comes
one.
back and takes like the veterans minimum,
Right.
I'm okay with it because look, Rose can be on the team even if he doesn't play. He is a very good locker room presence. The
Right.
guys love him. He helps these young guards. And if we did need him, he could play. You know,
Right.
maybe next year he has a little second wind, and
Yeah.
that's okay. But he has to be willing to do that because he may want to just walk away. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, he could walk away or find an opportunity to sort of do his whole, what they call that, his
Oh, the
retirement.
retirement. Yeah, yeah,
The,
yeah,
the you
yeah.
know the sort of with the Chicago Bulls. You know what I mean? Like they could
Right.
commemorate him in their own way and give him the veterans minimum to do that, and so he goes out in
True.
style.
True.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just not. I'm not looking at Rose as a throwaway. I think he's worth having. Um, Fournier, it's evidently not a fit, right? We tried him out for the year that he was here. He wanted to be here. He signed a 4-year deal. He wanted to be here. Um, he's done all the right things. Also a good, club guy. Um, I don't want to say he's unprepared. I think he's prepared. He comes prepared. He's just defensively, he's a liability. And in the grand scheme of things, it looks like he fell out of favor with Tibbs. And so it's a guy who really wants to keep playing. So why not find him a home? Maybe you can find a trade with a team who's looking for a playmaker shooter type that Fournier is and that can fit within the system. And maybe you make a trade for some draft capital. That could be how we get back into the draft because we don't have any draft picks this year. So maybe we look into moving Fournier to get into this year's draft if they feel like there's a couple of players that they may like, whether in the late first round or, even, high second round. So we'll see.
Yeah, yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot to think about. There's a lot to think about, and then we still don't know what's going to happen. Um, he may or may not want to come here, but we still have Rokas Jokovitis. Don't
He
know
ain't
what to do
coming.
with him yet. You
He
don't
ain't
think
coming.
so? You don't think maybe he saw the Knicks and said, "Hey, they winning. This Brunson guy, he's pretty good. Let me get over there."
I don't even think it works that way with the contracts with these overseas players. I think those contracts and the way that they are structured, it makes it very difficult for those players to come out of their contracts to come play in the US.
Oh,
I think
well, we'd have to pay a fee. You do got to pay a fee,
that's what
but
I'm saying. I just don't
it's
know.
yeah, it's tough.
I don't know. And then he's gonna with a player like that who has so much going for him, where he's at, he may want a starting spot, and he's not gonna start over Grimes, and he's definitely not starting over Jalen Brunson. So
But he might come here and get significant minutes
no, he won't.
if
It's Tibbs.
what no, but he plays defense though. He's not
It's
McBride defense,
It's
but he plays
Tibbs.
defense.
It's Tibbs. It's gonna take Tibbs an entire half season
You ain't
in
lying though.
order. You
That's
know what I mean?
that's very
It's
true
not.
though.
It's not like it's
You
gonna
ain't
happen.
lying.
You know what I mean? He's got to
Yeah, it
prove
ain't
it
gonna
to
happen right
Tibbs.
away for him. Yeah, that's
And
true.
and that's the thing. That's the one thing that a player from overseas is. And they're. I'm not saying the player wouldn't want to come. I would say because when you talk about players from overseas, they come with a full-on grasp of knowledge and members around them who sort of help develop them and help get them to the States prepared for the States.
Right.
So it's a team of people who he's working under, who he's working with, and all of that has to be,
That's true. That's a good point.
yeah. I don't see Jokovitis coming to the US. And if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong. And
It's
I would
even
love to
better if
see
you're
it.
wrong.
Exactly. Even better. He could prove that he is capable, but I don't think he's that guy. I don't think he's
I
he's
think
not
he's
in the stage of a Luka Doncic, right?
right.
Type.
Oh no, definitely not. And I
It's not
think
there.
I would love to see him here, but it would be at the expense of McBride. There's no way around it. So, and I like McBride.
McBride will kill him on a on practice.
No, but
Killing me.
well, defensively, yes,
He will kill
but
him in practice.
but Rokas is not a slouch, man.
Nah, man, it's a difference. It's a difference.
I'm just
It's
saying he
look
ain't a
at when you look
slouch.
at what Grimes did in the during his summer
You
league
mean
and during
McBride? McBride.
not well. You said he's going to take over Deuce McBride.
Yeah,
That's what
yeah,
you were saying.
McBride.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I was
yeah.
confusing him with Grimes because I was like,
Oh
Grimes is going to
no,
eat him
no,
apart.
no, no! Grimes would destroy him. No,
Yeah,
no,
exactly,
no,
exactly.
no, no, no,
So,
no, no. McBride.
yeah, McBride. Yeah, that's more of a comparable matchup. But
Although I do see
yeah,
McBride giving him some fits too, because the one
yeah,
thing about Rokas
defensively,
is that he's not quick. Like
right,
he's got decent NBA speed, but for a point guard in today's game, he's not the fastest.
right.
So that
You
could
have
slow
to
you
be a
down a
lot
little
more
bit.
crafty when you don't got speed, and that's something that good defenders are going to be able to put the clamps on him if he isn't crafty enough.
Yeah, and yeah, man, child. I don't know, man. Could he be here? Yes, but will he be?
I don't think
I
so.
don't. I think he's probably going to get used as trade bait. Like he's
There's
gonna.
like a 10% chance he comes into the States to play next year.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
let me ask you this quick question before we get into the other controversial subject, Mr. Controversy himself for like the past 2 years. Um. How would you feel if the Knicks traded Obi Toppin for a first rounder? And no, guys, not the first round pick that I'm seeing on Twitter. There ain't no way Portland is giving up the third
Not
pick
happening.
for Obi. Straight
Not
up, that
happening.
ain't not. It's not gonna happen.
I
But
don't even
like,
think it would be a top 10. I don't even
no, I
think
don't
he
think so
would.
either.
You
I
know what I
think
mean?
it
So
might be a late teen
20.
or early 20.
Yeah,
But how would you feel about that? Would you be okay with it?
I wouldn't want to do it. I don't think like you got a player that's in. I mean, Obi right now is what this is his third year in. This will
Third
be his
year.
third year. He's building on what he's. I'd rather have the chemistry that he's already built with this team. So I'd rather keep Obi and keep developing Obi right now for what you need him to be. Because I think right now he's capable of hitting the three. Is he consistent enough? Not yet. He needs to develop, a little bit more on his handle, on his drives to the basket. He needs to have a stronger base so he can finish stronger at the rim. And he just needs to be a little bit more consistent. I would like to see him more aggressive. And so some of the things he could work on in the summer, really get comfortable at doing. And then potentially, I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him and Randall together on, one of those, you know, mix and matches. You know what I mean? Like playing Obi at the three when you want to go a little taller. Because I think he gives you length and he can give you floor spacing where Barrett can't necessarily, especially if Barrett isn't hitting the 3-point shot. You know what I mean? So the one thing Barrett has in his favor is that he drives to the basket and he's, you know what I mean? I mean, he was a strong finisher this playoffs. He didn't have a great start to the season. And so there's a lot to be said about how the players come prepared next year into coming off the off season, coming into the new season. I want to see them all develop into their games and really start taking strides. But I would keep Obi, bro. I would keep him. I wouldn't give him
But
a
you
first
don't
rounder.
think that business wise, them paying Brunson, them paying Randall, them paying RJ, Quickly's gonna want to get his bag. They
Worry
gotta
about
pay
that when you
Josh
get there.
Hart. Yeah, but
That's a year away,
here's the
right?
problem. Here's the problem. If you get another season like what you got this past season from Obi, that's not a step in the right direction. You know what I mean? I'm not
Right.
saying that's going to happen. Obi could get better next year. Like
Yeah.
now being in the playoffs, he could be more comfortable. Who knows?
Mm-hmm.
But as a business standpoint, they might think like this is the best time we can move O, because if we let him stay out there, knowing that Randall is still here and going to get 30 plus minutes, whatever it is, we still can't display Obi. And, you know, anything could happen. He could actually regress from what he's been doing and building on. So they might be like, well, why don't we try to get something for? Plus, the other thing is the Knicks are trying to get better. And, you know, you don't have a lot of chips that you can give away to get better. And Obi's a chip. Unfortunately, he is. Unless you start touching the high level guys.
For me, it's not unforeseeable. Like, it's not like I'm not looking at that and saying they won't do it. There's a possibility they could do that, and they could potentially move from McBride. They could potentially move from Sims as well, even though those are smaller contracts. And and quickly, like I could see any one of those guys. I could even see Barrett getting moved, right? Like I could see it all happening. I could see Randall being moved. Like there's nothing that I don't see. If you're asking me if I do it for a straight up number 1 first round draft pick, I would say no. I think you worry about the contracts when it's time to worry about that, because there's a new CBA coming out. There's going to be some stuff happening there as well. And so I'm sure the front office is going to be looking at everything, you know, that goes along with that CBA. Because I think you're not going to be able to go over the luxury, you know, threshold. And so that's going to be a big factor. You aren't going to be giving people max money. That's going to be key. And I think for the most part, Randall has a reasonable contract. Jalen Brunson has a reasonable contract.
Very much so.
RJ Barrett has a reasonable contract, even though he didn't play up to the contract this year. But it's a reasonable contract. And so I look at those things and say, okay, do you get a couple of hometown discounts because you started with this team? Like, can they play that game? Can they play the CBA game? We'll see. Well, there's nothing without, like I could see it all.
I know you. Yeah, anything can happen. I got you.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing is, like, if outside of it, if the Knicks, I don't know what the front office is looking at when they look at this team. I don't know what Tibbs, because now I think Tibbs has a real good idea about what he's got.
Oh yeah, and so what he wants to go into next year with.
Right.
Sure.
So he might say, "Look, guys, I love these guys. They'll run through a wall for me, but I'm not getting any defense from my power forward spot."
Right.
Because here's the thing. He's not getting a lot of defense from the power forward spot. Now, I know Obi's a little afflicted defensively. I get it. And here's the thing. When I say he's not getting defense, he's not, because Randall can play defense, but Randall doesn't always give the effort. I saw another video today. You know, I lived it, but when I saw the video, it brings it to light even more. The video broke down all of Randall in the Miami series, like when he was dogging it, like his man, he's playing his man, he's giving his man too much space. Then he's cheating. Miami moves the ball all around the court. They come back to his man hits the wide open 3. Or they come back to his man cuts to the basket behind Randall. By the time Randall turns around, the guy's already making a layup. Like, that's not good. Like, you don't, not only do you not want that from a player on your starting squad, you don't want that from one of your leaders. Like, Randall's supposed to be an all-star, all-NBA. You got to play like it. I'm sorry. I know you've been hurt, but if you can't really play to that level, then you can't be out there all the time. You can only be out there when you can give that effort. You get tired, you got to sit on the bench. Like, we need Randall. Though. That is, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a combination of Tibbs, and this is why in the offseason, this is where the front office has to get involved and be like, look, this is what we saw. What do you think about it? Tibbs can be honest. Like, I agree with you. Tibbs can be like, well, no, I just think the ankle was bothering him more. Who knows? But
Tibbs going to say, I don't give a shit what you say. I'm the coach of this team, and I play the players who I feel are going to get me a win. And that's the end of the story, because none of those guys understand how to coach in the NBA. Not any one of those people like, if it was a Pat Riley, then maybe there will be a conversation. But Leon Rose has never coached in the NBA. Neither has Worldwide West.
Worldwide West. Everything he touches turns into a worldwide mess. Yeah, that guy.
None of those guys. You know what I mean? So it's like he doesn't have to say anything other than I'm going to play the guys who I feel is going to give me the best opportunity to win, right?
Right.
And he's been given enough carte blanche right now to prove himself right, and they got into a place where he deserves to have that say. And so for me, the front office doesn't have anything to do other than get him the guys that he wants, like a Josh Hart, right? And so if he is fixated on a player that he knows can maximize this team's ability to making it to the next round, listen to the guy, bring that guy in. That's it.
That
That's
makes
their
sense.
job. You know what I mean?
Although that could mean that they could say, because I think they'll do their little off-season summary of everything, and like they'll have that conversation, and they could say, is there certain guys out there that you'd like to see if we can try to get? All right, now we're going to try to get these guys.
Absolutely.
Are you okay with these players leaving?
Exactly.
You know, because that's
exactly my point. And I don't think Tibbs will shy away from that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he wants that. I think he wants that conversation to happen. And I think he'll give everyone an opportunity to, well, I think he'll be open enough to have those conversations with the team that he has currently.
Right. No, it just makes sense.
Of speaking to Obi and saying, hey, appreciate your time here. You've done a great job. You know, keep developing. We love you here. We're going to move you to this team. You know, we have an opportunity here. I don't think he shies away from that. I think this is
and that makes sense.
He reminds me like it's like the Dabo situation, right? When you look at the Giants, like Dabo isn't afraid of the moment. He has a coaching job for a reason. He isn't afraid to be outspoken about it. And I think for someone like Tibbs, as tenured as he is right now, and the way he's proven to be the leader of this team or this culture shift, I think he's willing to make that hard decision. And, you know, that hard conversation, I think he's willing to have. You know, again, he likes who he likes, right? Because you know how he is with Quickly, right? He's giving him the longest leash, you know, and he still rides with him. So there are going to be some players that he's married to, like a Randall, you know, like D Rose, and I think IQ is one of those guys too. So
yeah, no, listen, you're not wrong. Like one of the guys, like, and that's another thing, those relationships, that marriage of stuff, because some people say like Leon Rose is attached to Obi.
It could be, but he's not coaching the team. And so I think Margaret Edwards put it really, or was it Margaret Edwards, or there was someone else? Oh, actually, Ohead had put Tibbs and Leon went through this with Cam and the Kemba situation.
Right.
So it comes to now when you're leading and you're in the management style of things, you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, we've had the opportunity to go for someone you like. It didn't work for the culture that I wanted to put in place. You know what I mean? And these are the reasons why, right? Now Tibbs has carte blanche a little bit. Like you now, if I'm Leon Rose, I'm looking at him, I'm saying, you made the right decisions. We brought you Hart over here because you said you wanted him. He was the right type of fit, and it worked out. We're going to keep, you know, leaning to your expertise and what you're looking for. You know, Grimes was a plus, right? That's a player that Tibbs wanted from what everyone is saying, right? Same with Deuce. And if those kids have maximized their level within this team, you know what I mean? Because no one thought Deuce was going to get a shot, and he finally got a shot. He played an entire season with the Knicks, you know? So that's something to be said there. So for me, I think it's a combination of Leon Rose listening to Tibbs and taking it, you know, taking what he has to say, not with a grain of salt anymore, but just like really owning it and saying, all right, we're going to go after the guy you're looking for. I think that's how we get to the next phase.
And I do agree with Margaret Edwards. Tibbs will be next. If we go into next season and say we do run it back, with a lot of the same guys, or even if we do improve on the roster, if the Knicks look out like they're struggling out the gate, Tibbs will be on the hot seat, not fired, but on the hot seat. And then if we get into the middle of the season and we don't perform the way we look like were performing this year, then Tibbs might be in a little bit of trouble because, you know, as you can see, Yeah, correct.
on a
As you can
5-year
see,
contract.
correct. Now I know, but they could just let him play it out, but they also could walk away. I mean, coaches get fired, in like year 1, year 2 of their contracts. And the way the coaches like this off season or these playoffs, the way coaches are getting fired, like Doc Rivers, he
I
had
don't,
4
I don't, I
years.
don't, I don't see Leon Rose doing that though.
Well, that's the thing. That's why I'm thinking. I mean, it would be him, but I don't think it would be coming down from Leon. I think Dolan knows that he can't expect Leon to make that change unless Tibbs was a horrible coach. You know what I mean? Like it's obvious, but I don't see that either. So I think Dolan would have to, or somebody who's, I don't know, hired as a consultant for Dolan, Mr. Gervas or whatever his name is, maybe that's where something would have to come from. You know what I mean? But I'm not saying I think Tibbs will be here. I don't expect any of that. I think Tibbs, the other thing that I think we saw is that he wasn't perfect in the playoffs, but he wasn't typical Tibbs either.
You're
He
right.
looks like he has gotten better with certain things, with rotations,
Slightly
with
evolved.
understand. Yeah, little bit. So I don't think it's as bad.
Right.
I think you just got to give Tibbs the right players. You give Tibbs the right players that will play the way he expects them to play. I think as Knicks fans will be happy because he did not get the effort that you would think from Quickly. He did not get the offensive effort from Grimes. And he didn't get the overall effort from Julius in these playoffs. Whether or not he was hurt or not, I'm just saying it didn't happen. So if you give him all that, we might be looking, it's a different story.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's going to come down to how the Knicks play. Whether or not we back in the playoffs and we're on the hunt for Eastern Conference Finals, position to gain the Eastern Conference Finals championship. He's going on year 4. I think he's going to get the benefit of the doubt in year 4, unless they completely wash out. And if they end up in last place and out of the playoffs, then is when I see them pulling the trigger. If they're back in the playoffs next year, I don't see them getting pulled, and I think he'll end up playing his final season as the coach, and then somewhere along that line, they'll start making decisions where they're going to cut him loose before the season end, or depending on where they're at. But
they might even re-up him.
I don't even think they'll re-up him, to be honest. I think this is I think their trend was to get the 5 years out of him, change his culture, get them to understand winning, and then they've maximized what they got from him. And then, hopefully someone who's currently in the culture can take a lot of the reins, take over from there. Similar to what Boston did. Similar to Boston, how they had.
So what you're saying is you think the next coach of the New York Knicks will be Dice Yoshimoto?
No, I think it's going to be Johnny Bryant.
Nah, I'm just messing with you.
Yeah.
He's not even. Well, I mean, you never know. But
listen, Spoelstra was the video guy. It could happen.
It's true. You're right. You're right. You never
know.
You never know.
I think it's like a Johnny Bryant or even a Brunson.
Daddy Brunson.
Daddy Brunson. Like I don't see the Knicks coming far removed from what they're creating internally. That's where
I think Johnny Bryant's got it locked in. I think he'll be the next guy. I think they'll give him that shot
because he's talking to each player after every timeout. You know what I mean? That's what you get from a guy who's going to be the next in line.
Yeah. I was going to say before we get out of here, just to touch on this Randall stuff real quick. I mean,
love him. Can't hate him. Gotta love him.
You obviously can say your spiel, John, but I'm gonna say this real quick, okay? My little dialogue here. I think personally that Julius Randle was very important to this Knicks team. He helped us get to this point into the playoffs. Unfortunately, he went through a really bad injury at the worst possible time, not only hurting himself, but also taking away from his rhythm. Then going into a tough defensive series with the Cavs. Then after that, dealing with Miami and still never really getting that rhythm back. Now, I'm not going to account for his lackadaisicalness on defense or plays he took off. That's on him. But the shooting style, the shooting, never getting the shot back, it's tough. So, it is what it is.
Right.
But and I do kind of feel like at this point, and I'm just being honest, I do feel like one of these two guys should go. I think Randall or RJ should go, just because I just don't feel like they play well together. And I think it'll benefit the Knicks in the long run if they get like a little shot in the arm, just a different way of playing with, a different player out there that might add. Who knows? You might get one or two players out of moving a Randall or an RJ that could help the team. You can get like a Rui Hachimura and a Bruce Bowen type, and you never know. Put those two guys in the Knicks. Let me tell you, the Knicks will be better.
Let me ask you. Okay. Would you move Randall for Cat?
No.
There goes your answer.
No.
There goes your answer. Because that's the only person right now, if you were to say tomorrow, you can make a move for, that would be the best fit. Because you look both sides, Cat is looking to get out of his situation.
True.
Right? Because he doesn't want to play alongside Rudy Gobert. And the Knicks need a center who can space the floor. If you're going to get away from someone with the same sort of contract, it is Cat for Randall. There really isn't no other trade to be made. Bradley Beal fits better with Washington than Randall would. So they wouldn't even make that move. You get what I'm saying? And so for me, it's almost a no-brainer. We keep Randall because he's the best fit for what we have today. There's no other fit right now. Not out there that's available to us. Unless, like I said, we're making a move for a Cat, and then that means maybe Mitch Robinson either has to take a back seat to Cat or get traded as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't know. I just don't like him. I don't like Cat. I don't like Cat
because there's no motor, right? There's that part of it, and Tibbs. I would be surprised if Tibbs wants that sort of headache back. You know what I mean? He dealt with it in Minnesota. Cat may have shifted his mindset a little bit. He's probably a little bit more grown up, a little bit more understanding of why Tibbs was the way he was, but still, old habits die hard. You know what I mean? So, I don't.
And that's a good point too, old head.
Right. It is crazy, but it's the closest thing you got to Randall. Randall's the highest paid Knick right now, and so you'll probably move another player like a Fournier and Randall to make that move happen. You get what I'm saying?
But what I said before is, what if you could get, maybe you can't get a Randall, right? But what if you can get a dynamic small forward, though, like a star type small forward that you didn't have before? That's
someone available.
Well, that's the thing. That's where, but these trades are not like something that is going to happen. This is if it presents itself, and so the Knicks might stumble upon something that we don't know is available yet that they find out about.
That's trade deadline. Yeah. That's 2024.
It could be off season too. You never know.
Unless a player is willing to sacrifice some, like a Dame Lillard right now is on Twitter saying, "Call it out. If you don't want me here, call it out."
Yeah, I wouldn't expect this. Right. Like Dame starting to be talky. I wouldn't even expect that from Dame.
Right. But it's all depending on who they draft with that third pick, right? Because if I expect it to be Wembanyama and Scoot, 1-2.
Yeah, probably.
There's like 3 players, 3, 4, and 5 that could go. They're sort of interchangeable, right? So if they go guard, Dame is going to want out. So, because he knows, and then at that point they're transitioning to go young, and he don't want to restart. He already said it. He was open in saying it, and that's why he's chirping now. He's putting it in the air, like, you guys keep testing me. I'm on this time. I've been on this time. You know what I mean? He knows what time he's been on, and he wants to win now. He wants an opportunity to win now. So if you make a move like that, and again, let's say for argument's sake, Dame says he's available. Now we can make the money work to move a Randall, to move a couple of Fournier and a couple of other guys. to get Dame. Do you do it? Do you do it? And now he takes what? We having Dame and Brunson start every game? Because I know Dame ain't gonna come off the bench.
No,
It's not a
no.
good fit.
I
That's
don't know
two
if it.
no defense.
I don't know if I don't know if it's a good fit, and I just don't do it because I mean, listen, he
And Dame
deserves.
is
I don't know
older.
if, and he's making 60 million.
And he's older. So it doesn't make sense. It's what I'm saying is like nothing makes sense right now other than keeping Randall. The one thing that makes sense is that you have to keep Randall. He's a 20-10 guy. He plays 80 plus games per season. Doesn't get hurt really. You know what I mean? You need a guy like that to keep you to keep you in the mix.
True, but
He's not a number one. I don't consider him to be a number one option, right? He's not an A all-star, but he's a great B. He's a good, solid B. He's gonna give you what he gives you. And the one thing that I think that like people overlook, he has his lapses on defense and he doesn't have the best IQ when it comes to like decision making. Sometimes he'll allow the referees to get in his head and he's temperamental. I get all of that. But there were moments even in the Miami series that he wasn't the main option. He wasn't even option B. He was option C behind Barrett. And for someone to be option C to try to be available and ready to shoot, it isn't the easiest or the best fit for a guy like Randall, who, for the most part, had the ball in his hands throughout the season. Secondly, when you think about the end of those games, who was the person catching rebounds? Why was it that they had to remove Obi towards the back end of those games? Why did Tibbs have to do that? Because he needed rebounding, and Obi didn't give him it. And so Randall came in, got a couple of really good rebounds, pushed the ball out for open looks that were not knocked in. They like Barrett missed them, Grimes missed them, Hart missed them, Brunson missed a couple. Like there were moments when you really
Randall can rebound, but remember
you need
what I
those
said
in the fourth quarter.
But remember what I said.
Right.
I said I think either Randall or RJ, one of them should go. I don't think you.
I get you.
Yeah, I don't think you can. I really don't think they should keep both of them.
I get you. But I mean, at this point, like you have to. I don't know if anything is gonna come out of this, and like I think there's gonna be busyness. Like there's even NBA players who are talking about, this season, off season is gonna be crazy. But I don't think it's gonna be crazy to the point of you seeing superstars asking for their way out. I think you may get a Lillard, potentially Beal. But outside of those two, I don't see anyone else who's a big name. I don't see an Ingram asking for a way out. You know what I mean? Like if Ingram asks for a way out, I'm all over that. But I don't see that. I don't see it. I don't see Shea Gilchrist asking for a way out. Like I think he wants to stay. I think a lot of these guys want to stay. Mikal Bridges is in a good position right now with the Brooklyn Nets.
Yeah, and I don't think Brooklyn will let him go.
And I think they're going to re-sign Cam Johnson because he had a really good year. So I don't think he's going to be up for free agency. I think they're gonna maximize his contract. So just don't see it there for us right now. And I like Randall.
But that's the thing, John. It may not be something that's obvious. Like I said, you could go try to make the splash if it's available. But if the splash ain't available, like who would? I mean, I guess you could think that because I thought he was a good player, so I'm not surprised. Mm-hmm. But like a Rui Hachimura, there's a Rui out there somewhere that you can get.
There's some guys on free agency like this. I mean, free agency, you're going to see a fair share of people in the free agent market. Your Kelly Oubre's, your who's another one that's in the market? There's Oubre. There's a couple of like small forwards that you can probably get at a lower price point to bring in, and then start moving some pieces around. You know what I mean? Finding a move for Fournier, bringing someone like a Kelly Oubre in, or something of that nature. Is Jonathan Kuminga in a contract year, or is he signed for a couple of years? Like guys like that, you know what I mean? Guys who got some versatility to their game, who can knock down threes, have athleticism, who can play the defensive side of the wing. Guys
like
like
a
that.
maybe even a, I mean, I know these names aren't sexy guys, but I'm just saying if you want to try to keep your core, and I
Yeah.
mean your full core,
Hmm.
these are certain guys that you might look at, like a Dante DiVincenzo, for
Yeah,
example.
DiVincenzo, exactly. I want him as a Nick because he's a Villanova guy. He's going to play his role. He's going to come off the bench, right? So if you make a move and you make a minimal move, or even if you make a what New York would consider a big move, would be moving Obi and Quick. You move Obi and Quick, you have to go after DiVincenzo because now you know what I mean. You need to bolster that back up. You need that backup
Right.
guard, And DiVincenzo not only plays the two, but he can play the one. He's a
Hmm.
proven one. So you know what I mean? And he's played in the system with Villanova with guys like, you know what I mean, Brunson and Hart, and he's played in those systems. He's just coming off of a really good season with the Golden State Warriors. So you want guys like that. I would love to have DiVincenzo as a backup point guard here.
I hate this name, but it keeps popping up. But I wouldn't be mad only because we have Brunson, and so Tibbs can't use him as a crutch.
Right.
Alex Burks. He's a guy that could come back. You never know.
I would bring him back if you move the depth. If you were to
No,
move
you got to
depth,
do that.
I wouldn't bring him back with a full squad because I don't think he's a good fit. I think he would be a good asset to have if you sort of deplete your bench a little bit. So if you moved on from Quickly, Obi, who else would you move on from? Quick Obi and maybe Deuce or something like that.
Like
What I mean?
there's guys out there that I could see the Knicks going after that are
Right,
small pieces. Then other people might be like, these aren't really sexy names. This doesn't
right.
mean anything. But a combination of them for what you're lacking, like
Mhm.
Jones, the point
Yeah,
guard for San Antonio,
yeah. Solid point
bringing
guard.
him in as a backup point guard to Brunson.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Solid point guard. Nas
Nas
Reed,
Reed,
another one.
who's
Right.
always been a good backup center. If
Yeah.
you're not happy with Jericho or what you're getting from him, you think he
Right.
just doesn't get it right. Bringing in Nas Reed is a difference. Nas Reed plays defense. He can score. He got that little 2-footer. It's hard,
Mhm.
He got a post-up
Right.
game.
The one thing you
You're
don't
not.
get is the stretch,
You
which
don't
we
get the
don't we
stretch, but
don't we
we've
don't do
been
anyway.
we
Right.
haven't been doing
Right.
exactly.
Right.
So, but there's guys out there. I'm
Yeah.
looking at a list, and I'm gonna probably talk about it on Saturday.
Yeah.
But there's guys out there that the Knicks could look at. Some of
Right.
these are a little iffy, but then there's others
Right.
that definitely could fit.
What's the kid
So
from New
yeah,
York who was with the Pistons who had a horrible season, but had some promise early on? From New York, Diallo. Diallo.
Oh, Amadou, yeah,
Amadou. I would
yeah,
take
yeah,
a
yeah.
flyer on Amadou. I really would. Like, if you're not gonna shift so much, I would take a flyer on him. What is he making? Like a mil, 2 mil? He's making nothing really. So I would take a flyer on a guy like that if you move the guys. I'm saying not in place of someone right now,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
if you were to
to help you
move
fill out
guys,
open spots. I
yeah,
got you.
absolutely. Because you
Yeah, I
never
mean
know. You never know.
it's
It's
interesting.
opportunity, and when you know, listen, that's basically what some consider to be luck, right? You know what I mean? Where, opportunity meets, you putting your work in, you know what I mean? So,
Right, right, right. Well, there's going to be a lot to talk about, Knick fans. There's I don't want to get caught in the rabbit hole, and I'm not doing it this year. Last year I did it, but that was okay. It was my first year doing it. This year I'm not getting dragged into the rabbit hole. I'm not doing trade scenarios every other day,
yeah,
every other
yeah.
show. I'm
Not
gonna relax because
not
too
worth
much
it.
stuff happened, and we remember how many shows we dedicated to Donovan Mitchell for
Right,
what.
right.
You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna
although
do all
although
that.
he's coming 2 years. He's coming in 2 years.
Here we
I'm
go.
telling you, he is. Once
Well,
that contract is up, they ain't gonna be able to resign him. He's gonna be in the open. I'm telling you, they're gonna have to move him before he becomes a free agent, and that's when the Knicks got to pounce on him. That's when
you
the
might be
Knicks
right.
get him. I'm telling you, it's 2 years from now. His
Well, we'll
contract is
see.
up. I'm
We'll
telling you,
see.
that's
You
what's
might
gonna
be
happen.
right.
and it's going to be Donovan Wood Brunson. That's the bigger kick. That's the kicker. And that's going to be nice because at that point, Julius Randle's contract is done with. You can move him in that same last year. So he could be moved along with the like a 3-team deal. I think that's what you wait for. That's what I would wait for. I'm holding
Well, I
on
mean,
to
listen. I just want everything. Give me Giannis right now. Let's
What
go
happened?
all in.
Giannis is staying, man. But you could,
Anyway.
I could, if the Heat start to dwindle out, I could see a Jimmy coming this way.
Yeah, I can see that too.
I could see that.
I can see it.
You know what I mean? Trying to get his ring. I could see that. If you got Donovan, Brunson, bring in Jimmy. Ooh, I can see that. Now I'm
okay.
talking.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. John's talking some stuff. I mean, it could happen. I don't know.
Like I said, I would wait. I'll play the long game. Play the long game, man. You ain't got to do it all now.
We'll see what happens, guys. It's just, But what I will say is we need to calm down because remember, the chance of the Knicks doing nothing is high, right? So why alienate our players or, isolate them, make them feel like they're, the butt of everybody's, resentment and stuff. Like the stuff that's happening right now with Julius Randle is ridiculous. And, you brought up Kenyon Martin. And I just wanted to say, like, I don't think like Kenyon Martin has been in a lot of Knicks games. He's even like, he's one of those guys that like when the Knicks put on events, sometimes, Kenyon Martin might even be there as a former Knick. Like if you care about your Knick team, why put something out there like what he put out there? Now, I understand what he was trying to say. I get the point that he's trying to say is Julius Randle's head in the right place? Is he focused on basketball and what it takes to win? But leave it at that. You can judge that by just looking at his game on the court. Don't tell me because after a game in which they won, by the way, that Randle went over and kissed his wife.
He had a black eye, bro. Like he,
Don't tell me that that's the reason why I know this guy's heart ain't in it. Come on, man. That's ridiculous. It's the dumbest thing ever. And I don't like that people are latching onto this stuff and they're just finding other bad things about the guy. If you don't like him, I get it. If you don't think he stepped up in the playoffs, you're right. He didn't. Should he have played better? Yes. Does he need to play better? Yes. But I mean, come on. The other stuff is ridiculous. Don't say all this craziness. It's bad. It's bad. We look crazy. We're talking about our own players like this. A player who was the NBA All-Star and All-NBA third team got us to the playoffs. We got out the first round, maybe if it's not necessarily because of him, but we did based on how he played in the regular season. And now we're going to say all this crazy stuff about him. And this year, Julius has been one of the his best version of himself. He's been a really good teammate this year compared to how he's been in the past.
You don't appreciate someone like this until they're gone. You know what I mean? Until they're 10 years over, you won't appreciate a guy and what he's done for this organization. Because at the end of the day, when he's done with his 5 years here, he's going to pretty much break a lot of what we consider to be Hall of Fame Knick numbers, right? Like he's going to surpass some of the, statistical, points per game, stuff like that, threes per game, all of that. Like he's going to doubles. He's going to surpass a lot of our Knick greats. And I think he's going to go down in history as one of the best Knicks to ever play or to ever wear this uniform.
Probably.
You know what I mean? So I look at it like, allow the man to play his game, allow him to grow within this organization, allow him to play his best basketball in his prime with the New York Knicks. You know what I mean? So allow the man to play out his contract if it's possible to play it out. And if there's an opportunity to go after a big ticket, if it presents itself, then go after it. You know what I mean? But in the meantime, let's just, I personally am going to ride with him. I'm going to, allow him to play his game, allow to see him mature as a Knick. I'm not going to dwell on anybody, hitting him on tweets or angry that he didn't make a play or played inefficiently. And like, that's not going to, like, for me, it's how he does for the full season as a whole, how he is with his teammates now. If he starts to become a bad apple in the locker room and starting to cause friction, then I'm going to shift and call it what it is. But for his game, I want to see what he can develop to become. You know what I mean? He may surpass a lot of people's expectations of what he could bring. I think he showed the fortitude to come back from a horrific season the year before, right? Came back in better shape, came back focused, and for the most part played 80 games, I would say. He missed 2 weeks? Probably missed like 4 games.
I think he missed maybe five or around there.
So 70 something games, like
77 games, 77, something like that.
No one does that these days. No one. So I want to see that. You go to a Knicks game to see superstars play. Guess what? Brunson and Julius Randle play every game. They don't take games off. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're not on what do you call that? Load management.
Exactly. And neither does Barrett. So you gotta appreciate what they bring to this Knicks organization. The players that they got want to be here and they want to play. So I gotta listen. I gotta ride with them. I gotta give them.
Yeah, that's what I'm with you on that, John. I'm just saying, like, we gotta appreciate our guys because we don't know if they're gonna be here or not. If you feel like you need to make a change, you make the change. But it is what it is, because of the play, not the stupidness. Like he put up a freaking picture of his pregnant wife, and people were saying, "Oh, look, this is what he's worried about," instead of the game. First off, it was a Mother's Day pic, and the pic was of a baby they've already had together. Like, it's old. People getting too crazy out here. Knicks fans are wilding out, man.
But it's not just Knicks fans. It's people. What do you call? There's a real thing where when I look at social media has a tendency of like they exploit the bad side of human nature. You know what I mean? Starts to come out. You know what I mean? Where if you having a bad day, you want someone else to have a bad day. And so you start to go in that trend. And that's what, for me, Twitter's like, like people rant and rave because they themselves aren't happy. At least that's how I see it. You know what I mean? Because I couldn't spend my day bickering and hollering about somebody who doesn't do anything for me day to day on their poor play or their poor exit. Like, I couldn't live my life like that. Like, you crazy? Like, I don't ever want to be that sad in life. I want to be cheerful. I want to enjoy life. I want to enjoy my family. And I want to live through experience. I don't want to deal with social media. And so that whole world is a little shifty for me because it's like, it's just what it is. You know what I mean? So
it's a little wild.
It's wild. And I don't think Randall or anyone in his family should focus their energy on what.
I don't think they want to. I don't think they care. Kendra Randall, his wife, doesn't care. And Randall, another thing that I wanted to throw out there too was a little misconception. People have been talking about Randall deactivated his Twitter account. Randall deactivated that Twitter account a long time ago, last year, when he was having issues and people were not letting him be. So he got off of social media so he could also help, get himself right. That he's been off of social media.
That's the smartest thing he could have ever done. You know what I mean? Because no one on social media, you know what I mean? You got to have a select few around you when you're someone in his magnitude, right? Someone who's has the limelight, who's in front of the fanfare. You know what I mean? You gotta have something for yourself. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, all he got to go home to is his family. First and foremost, they got his back amongst anyone. They're first. Everyone else is secondary. Teammates are secondary too. So those who say you have to put your teammates in front, completely wrong. 100% wrong. You don't do that. You put your family first and everything else second.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, when you're on the court, hopefully nothing's going on in your personal life that you can focus on just playing the game and being there for your teammates. But sometimes that's not always the case. Sometimes,
they're real people. They're human. Humans go through human shit. Like, it's just what it is, right? Like, none of us are 100% great all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, It just doesn't work that way. So
shout out to Christian Cortez. I know this is your first time being in the chat for the NBA report, so thank you. He says, love Randall. He acts just like the fans that hate on him. He whines when he doesn't get his way. He's a great fit.
yeah,
You know, he's listen, he wanted to be here.
right.
And you
One of
know,
the few players who wanted to be here.
one of yes, and being here, stuff happens. You know, he's also wanted to, he's also changed a little bit. He's become more aggressive in how he plays and how he carries himself because he feels that that's the New York attitude. But it's also in him, and he wants to show he's got heart and all that. But you know, sometimes you got to take, as we talked about before, on when Sim had a podcast, you got to take the good with the bad. So
Take them both.
Correct.
You take
You
them
take
both.
the good, you take the bad, you take it
them
all,
both.
and there you have the facts of life.
There we go. The facts of life.
Because maybe you know the fact that Randall's been playing a little subdued, he wasn't getting technicals, he was trying to stay out of trouble in the playoffs. It hurts his game. Maybe he needs to play with that fire in his belly. Maybe that's why we get the best Randall, because he gets all that. You don't know. The best thing you can do is try to build the best possible team around what are Randall's weaknesses. Okay, so how can we fix that? Who else can we bring in here to help with that? Whatever we know we're not going to get from Randall. Where can we get that elsewhere? That's how you got to look at it.
And at the end of the day, Tibbs got to do a better job of putting his players in a position to win. Bottom line, right?
Unless you trade Randall, I'm saying if he's here, that's what you got to do. But if you're going to get rid of him, that's a different story.
Right, 100%. But as far as Tibbs is concerned, to maximize the players that you have on the court, you got to put them in a position to win.
True.
You cannot go away from a player who has been your player from start of the season to the end of the season to shifting because Barrett got it going. Now you're going to shift the paradigm and go Barrett. You're going to go Brunson, then Barrett, then Julius. You should have kept the same balance that you had that entire season. And that's was a shift that was not to our favor.
And that's when he did that with Hart and Grimes.
Yeah.
Grimes got hurt. He put Hart in the starting lineup. That's fine. But when Grimes comes back, you put Grimes back where he was. See, that's where Tibbs kind of loses us sometimes.
At the end of the game, you can't put in Grimes without having warmed up for the end of the game to have a final shot at the buzzer. You don't put him. You don't put a kid in that situation.
Which was horrible, by the way. A nice play. He was wide open.
Great play.
That was the wrong person to have.
Kid did not play a lick of not even 3 minutes. Put him in the last minute and a half to make a last 3-point shot. You're not ready.
It's crazy.
You're not warmed up for
that.
So,
if anything, you know who should have took that shot, John?
Julius.
No, I'll give you one better.
Who?
I'll give you one better. Someone we've seen do it before.
Hart.
Fournier.
Yeah, but Fournier coming off the bench without any
I know it's bad. No, it's bad. But I give Fournier just as same amount of probability as Julius making.
But what's funny is that you put Fournier in there, they know Fournier's getting the ball.
True, but that's why you use Fournier. But I would use Fournier as the decoy. I'd even let RJ shoot that shot.
Facts. But what I'm saying, like, you got to have someone who's been playing, who has the
true. You can't just bring somebody cold
to shoot that. You crazy?
That's horrible.
Once he shot it, I knew it wasn't going in. I was like, "There's no way."
As soon as I saw him turn around, I was like, "Oh God!"
I was like, "There's no way." There was no way. And if we would have hit that, he would have shocked the hell out of me.
Yeah. Well, anyway, guys, listen. We gave you guys an extended run here. We were talking these Knicks. Usually the show's a little.
Hey, you did it again.
I did, but I quit. I knew it. I knew it because I saw it turn red. John and I haven't really had a chance to really chop it up in a minute, so wanted to get some of that stuff out and just come on, man. We're fans, but we not only do we want our players to play better, but we want them to love being Knick players and love the fans, right? And you also want other players to want to come to the Knicks and be a part of the team. But if they see us acting like this with our guys, like this ain't the way to go.
The buffoonery is going to always happen, bro.
Yeah, but it's bad enough.
But we didn't have social media. How many times you would go to your high school, right? I mean, we went to different high school, but you would go to high school and you have some buffoon talking about, oh, this, that, and that, fronting like he a real Knicks fan. And it's like you're not really a Knicks fan. Like you fronting now. Now you just want to be in the end. So you want to talk basketball, you want to talk Knicks, and you want to make a buffoonery out of the team that we rooting for. And so, I
Don't
just
make no sense,
those
man.
kids can move on. Like as a matter of fact, you can't sit with us no more. Goodbye.
Yeah,
Like
don't make no sense, man. It's all right. Yeah,
shit.
move on, B.
Right.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. Yeah, but let's just let's be there for our guys and hope the front office puts together the right pieces for Tibbs to continue to improve on this team. Let's give Brunson, a little bit of help to work with, but he doesn't need a lot of help. The Knicks weren't bad, man. We won 47 games. We won a first round in the playoffs. We weren't bad. We just need a little bit more, and the experience is going to help us too. And being in that same system and being comfortable and just, it's we're going to be better. I feel it. So
like I said, just let's make sure we sign Josh Hart. That's the first item that needs to be completed is re-signing Hart for whatever deal you want to create. Because he has a weird deal.
I also think not only just signing Josh Hart, but you got to go get yourself a shooter, because you put Josh Hart in a position to shoot when he's not a shooter. And that's why he didn't look good to some Knicks fans and they started to feel down on him. But you're putting him in a position where he just hasn't been that guy. He doesn't feel comfortable.
I guarantee you this offseason, that's what he's going to work on.
Oh, he's got to.
Oh, but
you can see it. Yeah.
He's going to do it. And he's going to work on his hand, dude. He's going to basically bring himself back to what he was brought to do when he was a rookie with the Lakers, I believe. He had a certain role with the Lakers where he would play point, handle the rock a lot, and he would, be asked to shoot open threes. I think that's now he knows what his role is going to be. He's going to focus to that degree in the offseason. You'll see a better, player, next year in those two areas, ball handling and shooting the three. Defense ain't going to go nowhere. He's a dog. He goes and gets it. So that ain't going to shift.
Wow. Well, as we were talking, thank you, Manchild. I see. I'm checking it out right now. Lakers and Denver. It's 7 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Denver is up by 4, 87-83. Denver's no joke, man. Denver's no joke.
They got players.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, guys. We'll stay tuned because that looks like it's going to be a fun one, man. Right. Anyway, all right. Final words, John.
Yeah, man. As always, this is always a pleasure. Glad I was able to come on tonight. Looking forward to the next one. If I can make it on the Monday, hopefully I can. We'll chop it up then. Blessings and respect to everybody in the chat. Stay healthy. Be safe. Later.
Yeah, there you go, guys. Listen, I was telling people earlier. I said, listen, this has been an interesting day. Today's my birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday. Let's go.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. I was about to call it. It was like, was it yesterday? I think it was today. There you go.
Yeah, it's today. Birthday, technically, it's today. Yeah. So, I'm out there dropping them 46 deuces on them. You know what I'm saying?
Let's go.
Come on now.
Yeah, man.
The only thing that would have made this birthday better is if the Knicks were still playing in the playoffs.
Facts.
But it's okay. It is what it is. I'm thankful that we were able to get what we got from them this season, and hopefully this offseason continues positively so we can keep building on this team. But I want to thank you guys for rocking with us. Appreciate you as always. You know what I always say, tell a friend who tells a friend who tells another friend. Still Knicks fans, we'll be back again, whether it be on Thursday nights, usually at 8 p.m. Tonight we pushed it to 9, but usually at 8 p.m. for the NBA report on NBK, Nothing But Knicks, or on Saturdays with yours truly for Know the Ledge, so I can talk you off the ledge. And now I'm really going to have to get my PhD going, so I got to figure out a way.
This Saturday, you're not doing a 3-hour special because we hanging.
No, I'm not. I'm not doing a 3-hour special because the boys are getting back together. The band is getting back together to we're gonna celebrate a little bit. Anyway,
yeah, man.
So yeah, man. So that should be pretty fun. And then look for us on SKF Weekly on Monday night at 9 p.m. for John and Ron. You didn't see us the past 2 weeks because of me being on vacation and then other priorities had to pop up.
my whole sports little thing.
Well, yeah. You know, things happen. Things happen, but it's okay. We'll be back this Monday at 9. So definitely thank you guys for tuning in. Let's go Knicks, man. Let's not go too crazy. You know, they're our team. You know, and you know, I know we play for the, you know, we as fans, a lot of us root for the name on the front. But that's okay. Just because we root for the name on the front doesn't mean we forget all the guys that got names on the back.
Well, we don't. Listen, we were hollering when John Starks was out there. You know what I mean? Like, you know, he was playing on the court. He had the same kind of energy.
That moment was incredible. I loved it. So
paying homage
definitely
to Melo and his son there to experience that. That's pretty dope too. Like stuff like that. You can't.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Shout out to Adele Chapman. I see you. I appreciate you. And thank you. I appreciate that as well. Thank you, Mac S as well. Thank you. All right, guys. So this has been another great show. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your night. And you know what? Like I said, take it easy on these guys, man. They are a team.
Right.
Anyway, we'll catch you on the next one.
Run that.